He's ready. Are you ready? Okay. Good afternoon. Welcome to Oldham County Fiscal Court. It is now 2 o'clock, May the 1st, 2018. And if everyone that is able would please rise, we'll say the Pledge of Allegiance.
The United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Sheila Fair, Fiscal Court Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Magistrate Likens.
Here.
Magistrate Tice.
Here.
Magistrate Leslie.
Here.
Magistrate Greenwell.
Here.
Magistrate Hounds.
Here.
Magistrate Eldridge.
Here.
Magistrate Dye.
Here.
Magistrate Logston.
Here.
Judge Vogel.
There being 8 of the 9 members of Fiscal Court present, this meeting is now in session. We need an approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? I have 2 items that are going to be removed. One of them is the waste tire grant and the Kentucky Office of Homeland Security project. We're going to pull that. Becky Zockline couldn't be here today, and she said it's not time sensitive and that it'll wait till the next meeting, so we'll address that then. Anything else? All those in favor of the agenda as revised, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, Sheila, if you would please read the minutes from the last fiscal court meeting, April 17th, 2018.
April 17th, 2018. The Oldham County Fiscal Court convened at a regular meeting at 2:05 p.m. with Judge Executive David Vogel, County Attorney John Carter, and the following magistrates in attendance: Brent Likens, Wayne Tice, Steve Greenwell, Chris Hounds, Kevin Eldridge, Bob Dye, and Michael Logston. Magistrate Leslie was absent. Motion made by Magistrate Greenwell and seconded by Magistrate Hounds to approve the agenda, adding Area Development Fund grant after County Administration. Motion carried unanimously. Motion made by Magistrate Hounds and seconded by Magistrate Logston to approve the meeting minutes. Motion carried unanimously. Public comment. Amy Alvey announced May is Brain Injury Awareness Month, and the annual walk Heads Up for Brain Injury Awareness is May 12th at Tom Sawyer Park. Deputy Sheriff Michael Meese announced the Oldham County Sheriff's Office and Police Department are participating in the National Prescription Drug Take-Back Day, April 28th from 10 to 2. Drop-off locations are at LaGrange Fire Station 2 in Buckner and Oldham County Police Department off Highway 393. Tri-County Community Action Agency presentation. Joan Miles, Tri-County Representative, presented information relating to its Compass Substance Abuse Program and the people it's helping, sharing the personal story of someone struggling with addiction. County Administration, payables. Motion made by Magistrate Logston and seconded by Magistrate Tice to approve the payables, removing the $5,000 invoice for Community Foundation. Motion carried 6-2. Judge Vogel and the following magistrates voted yes: Brent Likens, Wayne Tice, Chris Hounds, Kevin Eldridge, and Michael Logston. Magistrates Dye and Greenwell voted no. Budget transfers. Motion made by Magistrate Tice and seconded by Magistrate Eldridge to approve the budget transfers as submitted. Motion carried unanimously. Transfers between funds. Motion made by Magistrate Tice and seconded by Magistrate Eldridge to approve the transfers between funds as submitted. Motion carried unanimously. Contract agreements and resolutions. Area Development Fund grant. Motion made by Magistrate Dye and seconded by Magistrate Likens to authorize the Judge Executive to sign the Statement of Assurances relating to a $4,899.34 Area Development Fund grant for digital signage as submitted. Motion carried 6-2. Judge Vogel and the following magistrates voted yes: Brent Likens, Wayne Tice, Chris Hounds, Bob Dye, and Michael Logston. Magistrates Greenwell and Eldridge voted no. Community business. Second reading public hearing for the updated smoking ordinance. Judge Vogel and Teresa Gamsky, Director of Oldham County Health Department, presented for second reading public hearing proposed ordinance number 18-820-441, repealing and replacing ordinance number 06-820-464, relating to the prohibition of smoking in Oldham County and establishing a new ordinance as submitted. And the floor was open to public comment. Ben Chandler with Foundation for a Healthy Kentucky spoke in support of the proposed ordinance. There being no further public comment, the public hearing was closed. Motion made by Magistrate Likens and seconded by Magistrate Hounds to adopt proposed ordinance KOC 18-820-441, repealing and replacing ordinance number 06820-464 relating to the prohibition of smoking in Oldham County, and establishing a new ordinance as presented. Discussion followed. Motion carried 7-1 on a roll call vote. Judge Vogel and the following magistrates voted yes: Brent Likens, Wayne Tice, Chris Hounds, Kevin Eldridge, Bob Dye, and Michael Logsdon. Magistrate Greenwell voted no. Board appointment. Code Enforcement Board appointment. Motion made by Magistrate Likens and seconded by Magistrate Eldridge to reappoint Cindy Harbin to the Code Enforcement Board with a term to expire May 18th, 2021. Motion carried unanimously. Tourism Board appointment. Motion made by Judge Vogel and seconded by Magistrate Greenwell to reappoint Bill Schneider to the Tourism Board with a term to expire May 1st, 2021. Motion carried unanimously. Second public comment, none. Announcements. Magistrate Dye announced Business First released survey results for 25 nicest neighborhood communities in all 5 cities in Oldham County made the list. He stated the new Maples Park in Crestwood is being dedicated Saturday, and the final curbs are being poured today in front of Dairy Queen Crestwood. Magistrate Logsdon announced the open burn ban in Oldham County begins May 1st. Motion made by Magistrate Greenwell and seconded by Magistrate Hounds to adjourn the meeting. Motion carried unanimously, and the meeting was adjourned at 3:06 p.m.
You've heard the minutes. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there any changes or deletions we need to make? I got a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Abstain.
Abstention? Magistrate Leslie? Okay. Next is public comment. It's a time when anybody from the community is allowed to come up and speak for 4 minutes. Possibly, if the magistrates will go for another 4 minutes, we'll do that if you need that time. So first of all, who would like to come up and speak? Mr. Sparks.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. It's a pleasure to see all of you again.
Name and address, please.
J.D. Sparks. I'm candidate for Circuit Court Clerk. My address is 2823 Hollow Oak Drive, Crestwood, Kentucky. It was an honor to serve with all of you, except for Mr. Hounds, and I'm glad that I had some small part in recommending him and encouraging him to join up. I've served our community both in the Marines, Fiscal Court, and now in Frankfurt, helping the governor. Some of my past work that I've done that has improved the Circuit Court Clerk's office was making sure that we were one of the first counties to get the e-warrant system, which vastly improved their productivity. When there was time to appoint a new judge in the area, I was asked by the governor's office to help recommend the people to sit on the Judicial Nominating Committee, and I made sure that we had representation not just from right down here in LaGrange, but from the 3 counties that were represented in that court. I've also done some other work that I think has helped improve the safety there, and I look forward to doing more. I'd like to improve security in the courthouse. I'd like to improve the IT operations in the Circuit Clerk's office, and I'd like to work in improve cooperation with other counties. One of my ideas is I'd like to try and organize reciprocity with some of the local counties so that our people don't necessarily always have to come right to LaGrange to get their work done with the clerk's office. And I've had positive reception from some of the leadership that I've spoken to about that. I think we need a change in LaGrange in the courthouse. I think the citizens should be the ones picking who is selected to serve us there, and I hope that they'll pick me. I'd be honored, and I would work very diligently to make them the first priority. Thank you, guys. Have a great day.
Thank you. Next.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. My name is Keith Hadley. I'm representing the Kentucky Smoke-Free Association. My address is 2009 Clark Point Drive, Crestwood, Kentucky. I'm here today actually to commend your magistrates for including vapor products in the indoor ban. There is one one exemption, though, that I wanted to explain as far as small businesses. I know a lot of people don't have a lot of knowledge about what vaping is and how it is different than tobacco. There is no tobacco in our products, and our goal as shop owners across Kentucky is to be able to improve public health by giving people the means to get off of traditional cigarettes. There's that old saying, it's like you smoke for the nicotine, die from the tar, right? So our products, having a retail shop here in LaGrange, under this current rule, we would not be able to provide testing of flavors to our consumers. Our customers come in, they don't necessarily like the taste or smell of cigarettes, and they want to try to utilize something that they do enjoy. And being able to find that fine flavor for these consumers, everybody's palate's different, so they need to have the ability to test different flavors in order to find what works for them. And that would be the most important part, is that there is no nicotine in our testers either. They're all 0 milligram. There is no tobacco in e-liquid itself. I manufacture e-liquid as well, so I know exactly what's in there rather than 5,000 chemicals. When you burn a cigarette, there's only 4 ingredients. It's vegetable glycerin, natural food flavorings, and nicotine. Liquid nicotine derived sometimes from California, from potatoes and tomatoes, not always necessarily from a tobacco plant. I'm asking a slight amendment, just as Jefferson County or Louisville has adopted into their amendment to protect these small businesses. And if your retail location sells 85% or more of vapor products, then they are exempted in Metro County, as well as in the key cities that have all adopted this policy, especially Lexington has done it as well. I apologize for not being here last week in order to represent this industry. I had been in talk with Teresa in Oldham County Public Health. I gave her my card. I explained to her my concerns as far as the recent articles that have come out as far as the schools and utilizing products which we don't sell, most gas stations do, but we're diligently fighting in order to promote public health, protect our children as well, and to help people in order to have a better society. I mean, we're also increasing and helping with Medicaid costs. In Kentucky, we have the highest rated smoker-related illnesses for our Medicaid costs, and we've successfully helped thousands of people to quit smoking. This is a lot better than a patch or anything like that, because there's a support system. If a customer comes in and say, hey, it's really not working for me, we can try to tailor to what they need in order to give them motivation, in order to tell us our stories. I really feel that an amendment for us for vapor shops would help to maintain businesses here in Oldham County. I do business in Oldham County. I live in Oldham County. My kids go to school in Oldham County. KSFA is also for a bill from Senator Alvarera as far as banning any vaping devices in schools. And with that said, my time's up, but I appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anybody else would like to speak?
Hello, my name is Jason Underwood. I have 3301 Trinity Road, Jefferson County, Louisville. I'm a lawyer and a lobbyist for the association at the statewide level, representing over 200 shops and about 800 employees. I just want to point out that when we went through this process in Jefferson County, with expert testimony from each side, even the U of L medical officers, I think it was Dr. Gupta, acknowledged that the American Cancer Society has, while they're not endorsing vaping products, they say it is a cessation product, and they would much rather prefer people use those products instead of use tobacco products. Also, while we absolutely support no vaping in schools, you have to be over 18, no vaping in public places. The exemption in Louisville was, again, 0 nicotine just for the flavoring, because we acknowledge that we don't want even any employees to be subjected to something that they would possibly find harmful. You have to be 18 to go into all these shops, and the only reason to be in one of these shops is to be purchasing a vaping product. You're not going in there, to buy pizza, anything else. You're there for one purpose only. Same thing with the employees. And if at a later date, I know I was talking to our Magistrate Leslie, that your next hearing is already booked, but maybe the next one after that, if we can be heard on the exemption, we could have experts here to testify if necessary. But if that ordinance goes into effect and this were to be duplicated around the state, you'd put these gentlemen out of business and their employees out of business. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Magistrate Greenwell. My name is Amanda Bucher. I live at 469 Stone Creek Drive in Lexington. I am with the Kentucky Center for Smoke-Free Policy at UK. And I do congratulate you on passing the smoke-free ordinance at the last fiscal court meeting. And I just wanted to give a few comments with regard to what Mr. Hadley and Mr. Underwood spoke to just a few minutes ago.
I'm going to ask you to speak just a little bit louder so that we can get you on tape, please.
Sure,
Thank you.
absolutely. So I just wanted to mention, first of all, that e-cigarettes do give off an aerosol. They do pollute the air, and our primary concern in including them in a smoke-free policy is with regard to air pollution. No one should have to work in an environment where they can't breathe clean air. One of the constituents that Mr. Hadley mentioned was in his e-cigarettes is propylene glycol, and that is actually a lung and eye irritant, something that is a problem. I also want to mention that Mr. Hadley mentioned that he has people testing e-cigarettes in his establishment, and he mentioned that in those testings they don't include nicotine. And I wanted to mention that the FDA actually prohibits e-cigarette shops from allowing individuals to test their e-cigarette products that contain nicotine. That's something that came out in 2016 in a deeming rule. And so that's actually against FDA regulations if any testing is happening in that shop with products that contain nicotine or tobacco. I also wanted to mention quickly that e-cigarettes do contain tiny particles that travel deeply into the lungs, into the bloodstream, causing disease. And this is something that I know you all have heard a lot about over the last year or so, that you've been discussing this ordinance, especially Magistrate Likens, Magistrate Leslie, and Magistrate Dye, as you talked about this in committee. So the last thing I just want to say is that e-cigarettes are not considered a quit aid that's approved by the FDA currently. The FDA is not suggesting that e-cigarettes be used to help people quit smoking. There's still a lot of research that needs to be done to show that something like that could be effective. And currently, there isn't research showing that. So thank you for your time.
If you would, a minute, I have a question. Is
Sure.
it possible that somebody somewhere has used vaping as a way to quit smoking?
Absolutely, absolutely, it's possible. Sure, and then so can I address that a little bit more? Let me say one more thing. There actually are quite a few other places across the country that have ordinances that are exactly the same as the one that you passed in Oldham County. There are actually 6 states that have state laws for their entire states that do not allow e-cigarettes to be used inside of vape shops. Of the 725 local laws that exist across the country regarding e-cigarettes in workplaces, 94% of them do include language that's the same as what Oldham County has. In addition, there are 10 other ordinances, 11 concluding Oldham counties that in the state of Kentucky that do include e-cigarettes in vape shops, that prohibit e-cigarette use in vape shops. Does that make sense? Okay.
Okay.
Any more questions? Okay.
Anybody have any questions?
Mr. Greenwell, can I respond? to
Hold on
something?
just a second, please. Bob?
Yeah, I had a question. And that had to do with this. He didn't say they were using e-cigarettes, I don't believe, or nicotine.
I think he said that you
Is that
have
correct?
people testing.
Yes, people do test 0 milligram nicotine. The FDA requirement was not that they couldn't test it, and they could test nicotine, but we would.
Would you come up, please, and speak? Yeah. Thank you very much.
Sorry. The FDA requirement actually specifically stated that if you were to test products with nicotine in them, that you would have to charge for them. That was what they put down. As KSFA, we all encouraged our members to use 0% nicotine because there was no clear defined rule by the FDA on how much to charge, how lengthy, how much you need to how much you have to put in your books and have a file on how many people have tested your products. So it was kind of universally decided that if there is no fine rule, when there is a rule for the FDA, we will comply. My companies and all the companies in KSFA, we are all registered companies with the FDA. You can pull them up on the website. All the products that we sell, we had to register. We had to go through the preliminary. We had to go through all this. We've spent tens of thousands of dollars trying to protect this industry to help public health. The small particulate matter that this nice lady here was talking about, they brought that up in Louisville as well. And when they did the testing, they went into a cloud competition, a convention, and they had thousands of people vaping, and they couldn't even get a part per million of anything that was contamination as far as that was even close to breathing air. So all the tests that they've had, when they've tested vape shops, they have said that it's the same as breathing air. There is no contaminants even listed.
Thank you.
Would anybody else like to speak at public comment? Okay, I've got a question. When does the ordinance take effect? Does anybody know that answer?
I haven't seen the document signed by the judge, so I can't answer that question.
We had this conversation, I'm sorry.
I know in an email that you said you had packets ready to go whenever the ordinance took effect, I believe.
Yes, I got confirmation from Mr. Carter's office that it took effect when it was published in the Oldham Era last Thursday. So the ordinance is already in effect in Oldham County, the current ordinance, per my conversation with Mr. Carter's office.
Is that correct, Mr. Carter? Not that I'm saying it's not to you.
Right, I didn't speak directly with him, but an individual in his office relayed that message to me.
Didn't talk to me. I don't know who they talked to. They must have talked to Travis.
Okay.
It was as by law published in the paper, and that would have been the day that it was effective on.
Okay. Because usually when we pass an ordinance, it says this ordinance will be effective upon passage.
It's effective on passage and accordance with publication is accordance with law, I believe.
Is that correct? Okay. All right.
So it's already in effect. It went in effect last Thursday.
Okay.
I have the exact language. Do you want me to read you the language?
That's okay. We're good, I think. My question to the court is, how do we want to handle this? Do we want to handle it, or what is your pleasure?
We can talk about it in Public Safety Committee if they want to come and talk to us, but the one in May, I feel is probably going to be totally booked, so it would have to be June, the second or the third week in June at 1 o'clock.
Okay. So the next meeting
I
that
think it's
this
1
could be?
o'clock.
Okay, 1 o'clock, okay. All right, we'll go on from there then, okay? You all will be present at that meeting, I suppose, to, okay, thank you. Next, we have a bid opening for a demolition project at 1512 Riverside Drive, Prospect. Melissa, you have bids, I guess? Thank you. The first bid is from Cardinal Demolition, 1300 West Main Street, Louisville, Kentucky. And the total not to exceed bid price is $22,500. And also they have a septic tank removal price of $5,000. So $22,500 and then $5,000 for the septic tank removal. Second bid is from Hanka LLC, 2111 Lytle Street, Louisville, Kentucky. Total not to exceed bid price of $23,500. There was nothing on there about septic tanks.
Was the septic tank a separate item in the bid, or do you know?
Mr. Urban.
It's the third item on the project scope.
Right, it is a bullet point for proper removal of septic tank and lateral lines if found and where possible. So I think just that somebody separated it out.
So
just
it
in
would
the
be
event that they-
$27,500 for the total price for that company, and then the other one was 23,500, and they just included that in theirs?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
So the second one's an all-in price for both items?
Yes.
Okay, just want to be sure. Thanks.
Third bid is from Complete Demolition Services, 1943 South 16th Street, Louisville, Kentucky. Their price is $14,700. Next one is from Franklin Lenhart Demolition, Poplar Lane, Louisville, Kentucky. Their total price is $19,480. Next one is Hedges Demolition, LaGrange, Kentucky. Their total price is $22,295. Nice to see this is generating some interest. The next one is TNC Excavating, LLC, South Main Street, Nicholasville, Kentucky. Total not to exceed price of $9,800. Okay, Mr. Urban, you will take these and look at them, and if at all possible, get back to us with a conclusion, and if not, then we can. Thank you. All right. Next, under County Administration, is payables. You all have had payables since last Friday to look at and digest, and whenever you're ready, I'll take a motion to pay the payables.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Magistrate Leslie, second by Magistrate Hounds to approve the payables. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Next is surplus property. Kevin Nuss, please.
Good afternoon, magistrates. You have before you, in your packet, are the most up-to-date list of vehicles. They were replaced by the link on the website this morning, or on your link to the documents. So you have 10 vehicles in front of you that we would like to declare surplus property to be sold at public auction. Just a couple notes on 3 of the Oldham County Police vehicles, the 3 2010 Crown Victorias. That's a stock photo. Obviously, it's the same picture for all 3 vehicles. That's not representative of the condition of the vehicle. In the future, I will try to use accurate pictures. This time I did not. In 2 of those vehicles, I was asked a question about the mileage. 2 of those vehicles, the county police had submitted incorrect mileage information based upon the information they had from the previous fleet manager. So 2 of those vehicles are in fact over 125,000 miles. The one vehicle that is the 2010 Crown Victoria with 118,000 miles on the first page, that vehicle is under 125,000 miles, but the mechanical repairs on that vehicle exceeded the value of the vehicle, so that's why that's being surplused. If you have any other questions, I'd be glad to answer them.
Thank you, Kevin. I guess today we need to declare these surplus so that we can think about having an auction. So is there a motion to do this? Question. Let's go ahead and make a motion first.
I'll make the
Motion by Magistrate Hound, second by Magistrate Dye. Okay, now we're open for discussion.
Maybe a silly question, but we take all the lights and everything off. I know that we
They're
can't use them on the
stripped,
new
yes.
cars, but what do we do with those then?
Chief Smith will have to answer that. I'm not
Okay.
sure what they're doing with them.
Chief Smith is making his way forward to answer your question.
I know they won't work on the new
Oh, they
Explorers
don't. They're
utilities.
Crown Vic, like the cages are made for Crown Vic. We can't use those. We have given some to other police agencies if they ask for them, we can't use them. Now, with this particular bunch, we do have some equipment we think we could probably resell.
Okay.
So we're gonna try to do that. But we strip them at errands and he kind of piles them all up there, and after a while, we take a look at them and to see if we can, if we can't sell it, then other agencies aren't quite as fortunate as us. We try to give them some.
Okay.
But everything comes off the car. Everything's marked, all the markings come off everything.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else got any, Master Dow?
Chief, you mean there isn't somewhere on the World Wide Web that buys this stuff? I mean, buy and sell everything on there.
If they're still operating a Crown Vic and they need a cage, and some of these cages would fit those old Crown Vics.
Yeah.
We've just been asked by Henry County for some old MDTs if we have them. Now, we have them, but they still have some value to them, so we haven't quite decided what we're going to do there yet until we come up with the value of the MDTs.
Write a check.
Good, yeah. But there are actually some out there that hunt around for them. And
But you can still buy Crown Vics, can't you? And there's some still out there on the web. I mean,
there might be some used ones out there, but you can't buy
They
them
quit
new.
making them in
Yeah, that's what I
2011
mean.
was
You-
last year.
Yeah, I like them. To me, they're a classic police car. I just like them, but
too,
they're
yeah.
hard to find anymore.
okay, thank you.
Okay.
How many reserves does that leave you then?
We have 5.
5, okay.
Yeah. Actually, one of the ones we wanted to keep was wrecked. So we're going to keep one back that probably may not last long, but still we have 5 put back. And we're pretty judicious about spending money on those. We take them Tri-County forward 100,000 miles. They go over them top to bottom, see what kind of shape they're in. Now, they come back with a list of repairs that might be needed now and in the future. We take care of the ones that are most critical now, and then the ones in the future we kind of build into our budget in case we have to spend that money.
Anybody else have any questions for Chief Smith?
Nope.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, sir.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor, second. If there's no other questions, let's go ahead and take a vote on declaring these as surplus. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Something that was brought to my attention that we should have addressed, and I forgot, was we have an employee retiring, Ethel Fox, and we'd like to take this time right now to make mention of Ethel and her years of service. Magistrate Eldridge.
Thank you, Mr. Greenwell. You know, we've been so blessed as a county to have really good employees. And today, under item K1, we're going to reluctantly accept the resignation of one of those that has really been more family than an employee. Ms. Fox has been with us for over 20 years. Since the 90s, she's been here, and her willingness to help others, her attitude, her constant smiling face has just been priceless. And I know when I was with Planning and Zoning, she was here. She's still here every day now and always has that same bright outlook. And just really want to thank Ms. Fox for all of her service. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Kevin. Well said. She just has been an excellent greeting as people come into planning and zoning or even answering the phone. She just does an excellent job, and I thank you for that. Next item on the agenda is community business, first reading of the fiscal year 18-19 budget. Mr. Clark, would you please come forward? I don't know if this is by design, but I believe a year ago that the judge took off at this exact same time. So I don't know if we're establishing a pattern here or not, but
Okay. You have in front of you in your binders the presentation of what we proposed, the judge's budget that's been presented to the court. And this is written up as though, when we get to the second reading. But this first reading is to present it to the court for review with the attitude that we will go through it and review it before the second reading and adoption in 5 weeks from now on June 5th. In general, just to summarize it, the budget has allocated for the general fund $18,870,000. That includes general government as well as recreation services, capital projects, debt service, and whatnot. The road fund is $3,575,000. Protection, they call it to persons and property. This is our new detention center, $4,803,000. We have the LG&A fund, which is mostly a lot of grants and matching grants, road projects, transit, mineral service, a lot of different items. That has a total budget this year of $6,630,000. Our dispatch services, so 911 services, a budget of $2,095,000. Then we have a couple of miscellaneous small funds. One's a road maintenance fund for $10,000 and a police fund for $10,000. The total budgeted expenses being presented to the court is a total of $35,997,988. It's a zero-up budget, zero-based budget, as they call it. Every item is detailed down to literally each person's salary, FICA, retirement, expenses, gas. It's a very detailed, built from the bottom up budget. So, and that's the first reading.
Thank you, Stan. At this time, the judge, this is his budget to present. We are to take it and look it over, ask questions, do whatever we want you to dissect it, and then in 5 weeks, you said, Stan, that is when we hope to have the second reading?
Right, it'll be advertised, and there's be some hearings for the LGA fund, CRA funds, and then the second reading.
Okay, all right. Magistrate Tice, did you have anything from the Finance Committee you'd like to add to that?
No, Finance Committee's planning on meeting and reviewing it and going over it and critiquing it a little bit and putting our blessings on it, hopefully. So.
Thank you. Thank you, Stan. You're up here again for the contract agreement resolutions for the court facilities local government reimbursement form.
Okay.
Yes.
I just have one question.
Go ahead.
What are the asterisks mean on that?
It means I didn't hide it from you. That's my double check to make sure that each one of those lines are tied to another line and has been updated correctly. I meant to hide that. Okay. All right.
Okay, Stan.
The next thing is each year we enter agreement for reimbursement of expenses that the county incurs for operation of the courthouse, AOC. The most recent budget change that, as we were preparing this, was when this agreement came. They have changed the method. In the past, we've been reimbursed all expenses plus some of our internal labor that we put over there. This includes cleaning, janitorial supplies, general maintenance, light bulbs, rug, changing the rugs out and all this stuff. The state has now adopted a new policy where they have decided that in the state of Kentucky that the average for those maintenance items and stuff should be $4 a square foot, and they are only willing to reimburse $4 per square foot to cover cleaning and all those various costs, as well as utilities and any capital projects. Compared to last year, that's almost a $90,000 decrease in what we're going to be reimbursed. And so that's been reflected in the budget I just presented. There's really nothing we can do about it. It just means that we will be reimbursed most of our expenses. It's just and some of our maintenance and costs that, of our people over there working and doing general maintenance, but not at the level that we've been in the past. But this is an annual agreement to operate the courthouse, and to get the judge's signature on it.
So this runs from July 1st of this year until June 30th of next year?
Right. And included, since the debt has been paid off on the courthouse, they do pay a $100,000 lease fee on top of covering the expenses. So that's a good part of it, is the lease.
But they were paying that all along? The 100?
They've been paying that, yeah, since the debt was paid off. That was included. So,
I see.
Like I say, this is about this is 89,000 something less than what we originally had in this budget before we got this agreement for this year.
And we need to pass a motion today to allow the judge to sign this agreement?
Yes, we're asking for permission for the judge to sign it. Yep.
Would anybody like to make that motion?
So moved.
So moved by Bob Leslie, second?
Second.
Second from Bob Dye. Any more discussion on this? We've got plenty of them here. Magistrate Eldridge.
I guess my only question, Stan, would be not about today, but about going forward. We've all heard talk of the AOC wanting to go in and remodel and enlarge their space over there. I would think that if they're not going to give us full reimbursement, we need to consider that going forward. What are your thoughts on that?
It came, because this actually, they attempted to do a year ago, and there was enough outcry that We thought it had been killed until the agreement came this year. But yeah, it's something, when we review, if they stick to the $4 a square foot, we'll have to be very careful with how, if they expand the courthouse and stuff, how we are covered, you know, in providing janitorial service. Our largest expense is contract cleaning over there, and, you know, it's expensive to keep these places and clean and deep cleaned and meet all the requirements. So in the past, we've been compensated about almost $6 a square foot. I did some figuring on that. So going down to $4 is, you know, I think a little too low, and I think it may vary by county, but it needs to be looked at. Yeah. I just don't know what we can do about it.
Thank you.
It isn't like you're going to lease it out to somebody else, because it's got to be for that purpose, because it is a courthouse. Is the $4 per square foot across the Commonwealth the same? Do you know?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Magistrate Dye?
Just to clarify one thing you said this was how much of a reduction from last year, going from, you said $4 a square foot. Well, it's about a 22,000 square foot building. That's 88,000. So where's
That 88,000 is to cover the contract cleaning, general, what you call it, light maintenance, be it rug cleaning, Fiscal, FAR, you know,
yeah?
DC.
So what do
elevator.
you have any idea what we've paid year to date over there now for this year, this fiscal year?
What we've paid there.
Yeah, for cleaning and all of this now.
Well, we have a contract. The contract is $43,000 just for that and clean. The way I figure this, we'll cover all our contractual expenses and out-of-pocket expenses and contribute $12,000 to $13,000 towards our internal labor. And in the past, we've been able to allocate like 50% of some of our people over there, and it was just, you know, fully loaded with benefits and everything. Have been able to, we just say, here's what it is, and allocate 50%. Now that's going to be a much smaller coverage of our.
So that will be our net hit from one year to the next is going to be this 13,000?
No, it's going to be about 90,000.
90,000. In other words, 90 to, that's, I'm not following your math very close here, but if they're going to give us 88 and we're going to lose 90, that means they're paying us 178, correct?
The audit that came back, those expenses totaled 177,000.
Okay, that's why I thought you said earlier, okay.
And like say, when you put, maintenance supervisor and one of our maintenance people over there and allocate 50%, fully load it with health insurance, workers' comp, all that, it adds up. And that's basically, first thing I did when this came was look, okay, we're going to cover our janitorial supplies and contract cleaning and rug cleaning and that. Yes, this does that. It just doesn't compensate us much on top for any of our internal people.
So the bottom line is they want the same job done for half the money.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Magistrate Hounds?
They tell us how and what has to be cleaned. I mean, we're under a contract. There's an obligation that they put requirements out, or can we change the requirements?
That's a loaded question. I mean, we bid that contract, and
I realize that now, but I mean, when does that contract come up for negotiation, you know?
I don't know what the requirements is about, I know when we bid it, we required the general cleaning as well as some deep, spring cleaning and waxing on the floor. Some of that we were doing internally. And I don't know I honestly don't know what the ALC's requirement is as far as, but I think we have to maintain the building to an acceptable standard.
Right. That's a big hit. I mean, the $90,000. And then to your point, if we do the new building, we want to make sure that we can keep it more maintenance-free than what we have today to keep our costs down. But,
yes. Any other questions? We have a motion and a second on the floor to allow the judge to sign this agreement. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No. 7 to 1. Any abstentions? No. Okay, thank you, Stan. Next on the agenda, a resolution for the annual transportation of non-public school students. Melissa Horn.
I'm asking you to pass Resolution 0105-0118, which is a resolution facilitating the payment of expenses by the Commonwealth of Kentucky for the transportation of parochial school students. This is what we term a pass-through grant. We receive the money, and then we turn around and pay the 2 parochial schools that have Oldham County students. Last year, we received $23,000 and passed it back.
Is that an increase or decrease, or do you know?
It's about the same. This is the 9th year we will be applying, to my knowledge, and the number of counties that apply has shrunk. So last year we got 100% of what we asked for.
I see.
Previous to that, it was about 80 to 85%.
Okay. All right. We need to authorize the judge to sign this. Is there a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Second.
Magistrate Howns, Magistrate Eldridge. Any discussion on this? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Melissa? The next 2 got pulled from the agenda. And there's one that's crossed out. I did that by mistake. We have, the next item on the agenda is the donation of land, public right-of-way. Jim Urban? Belinda?
We're asking Fiscal Court to accept a land donation from Oldham County Industrial Park LLC. The parcel being donated is needed for the Buckner Connector or Commerce Parkway Extension Project. The donation is valued at $519,100, and as this is a federal project, the value can be used as matching funds towards future costs of the project as we move into more right-of-way and construction phases and utilities.
So what do we need to do as a court? Accept this, or?
Yes, and you need to allow Judge Vogel or Kevin Nuss in his absence to sign the deed.
Okay. Is there a motion to that?
I'll make that motion.
Magistrate Likens made the motion. Is there a second? Second. Michael Logston seconded it. More discussion.
Steve?
Yes, something was going on down here. But anyway, go ahead, Magistrate Eldridge.
Just a point of order. Typically, we have a cover sheet that shows where the county has reviewed this. What I have here today is a sheet that says, forwarded a copy to the county for review, and I haven't heard back.
Actually, Travis Combs, out of Mr. Carter's office, has reviewed this contract, and I'm sorry we didn't have him sign that cover sheet.
Okay.
But
But it has been reviewed by the county attorney.
Yes.
Magistrate Likens, you look like you had a question on your mind.
I was just asking him, was that the
Okay, all right.
case? Please.
I defer as many property issues as I can to Mr. Combs.
It's kind of his expertise, isn't it?
Yes.
Any more discussion on this? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, it passes. Thank you, Belinda. Jim? Next is committee reports, recommendations, Roads Committee. Scott Harris, we have an erosion control bond release.
Thank you. We received an engineer certification and as-built drawings for Camden Woods Phase 3 in Crestwood. We reviewed the project and have accepted these documents and make the recommendation to the road committee to release his bond.
And where is Camden Woods located?
It's on the way into Crestwood on 146 if you're coming from 71.
Okay.
It's Phase 3 of an apartment complex.
Okay, all righty.
Right there by Anderson's.
Okay.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Magistrate House, second by Magistrate Logston, that we approve the erosion control bond release. Is there any discussion about this? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you, Scott. Next is Human Resources Committee, job description, P&D Administrative Assistant. Tina, well, Michael, please.
Tina, all we're doing is updating another job description. Tina will explain it to us.
When we have somebody resign or they retire, we always update the job description.
We're trying to make that a habit, yes, and we're also doing it as needed. So the job description before you today is the administrative assistant position in planning and development services. It has been updated to the new format, and all the responsibilities and essential duties have been also updated.
So we need to approve this, I take it?
Sir.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve this updated job description?
Yes, Steve, the Human Resources Committee met with this, and we do approve it, so
So that's a motion by you?
that is a motion.
Second by Magistrate Dye. Any discussion on this job description?
Chris is
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Tina. Is there anything else?
I was just going to do the next item, which is your
Go right
personnel.
ahead.
Oh, well, all right. We have personnel actions. We have, as we heard earlier, the retirement of Ethel Fox, and that would be effective today. Did you want to do these together or separate?
Separate, please.
All right. That's
The retirement of Ethel Fox, we have to accept her retirement. All those, who wants to make that motion?
I'll make that motion, again reluctantly.
Reluctantly, yes. Second?
Second.
Second by Magistrate Hounds. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, Parks and Recreation.
Yes, we have our list of seasonal aquatic center staff that is attached, all of our lifeguards, aquatic assistants, snack bar, the supervisor on duty. Those are attached with their rates, and the start date would be May 7th.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? When does the pool open?
I want to say Memorial Weekend, I'm guessing. I don't know where Tim is.
That's usually when it is.
I think it is.
And we're starting, of course, I guess they have to go through orientation and
Yes,
stuff like that.
yes.
Okay.
And they won't work they won't probably work every day. They have orientation on that Monday.
I see.
Yes.
Okay, all right. We have a motion and a second. Ms. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
We do still need lifeguards, aquatic assistants, and a snack bar person, so.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we're down to public comment, second public comment period. Anybody would like to come forward? Mr. Urban?
Sure.
You have the demolition?
Yes, we've reviewed the bids, and the low bidder is TNC Excavating LLC of 127 South Main Street, Nicholasville. Their not-to-exceed bid price is $9,800, and it does include all of the requirements that we listed in the scope of work. And they even submitted a proposed service agreement. So I'd like you to consider having us sign, or I guess Kevin Nuss sign in the judge's absence, this agreement.
That would be fine. And did they make specific mention of the septic tank or anything like
They
that?
did.
Okay.
They
All
did
right.
in this service agreement, and the only exclusion that they have is if they're going to do an asbestos survey, and if they discover asbestos, then we either have to pay additional costs, or we have to pay them for the cost of the survey if in fact we choose to not agree with their contract. So that's the only caveat in this. But I don't believe there's any asbestos in the building, but they will check that out.
Okay.
And that, again, is an extra item that's not in the scope of work.
Okay.
So it's a good thing.
All right.
I'd like to make that motion pending approval, once Melissa gets to check them out, that they are okay with the Secretary of State.
And I checked with her, she said she did, and they were,
She's already done that, and they are acceptable. I guess
And
I
I'll
have to
make that
question
motion.
why somebody's coming all the way from Nicholasville, Kentucky, but that's,
again, it looks in order, and the price is well within our budget.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to accept this bid for the demolition of the property on Riverside Drive. Any other discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Public comment, anybody else? We almost made this last an hour, everybody. All right, let's go down the line and ask for comments, please, from the Magistrate Logston.
Just give an update on 329 and 146. It's moving along. It's a state project, so I have no control over it, but they are out there putting sidewalks in yesterday and the day before, so they've scraped off some of the asphalt, so I'm sure they're getting ready to asphalt, and once that happens, the job should be about done, so they're working towards it.
Okay, thank you very much for that update. Magistrate Dye?
Well, when they get it done, it'll be nice to be able to get into the Maples, which I was at with Magistrate Greenwell this past weekend, or weekend before last.
Weekend before last.
And Magistrate Logston, and it's a great facility right there in downtown Crestwood. So if you haven't been there, go by and take a look at it. Secondly, on Tuesday, May the 8th, that's this coming Tuesday from 5 to 7, there's going to be a meeting by the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet at Ascension Lutheran Church at 13725 Shelbyville Road. And it's going to be one of those public meetings where you go in and kind of look at the maps, if you've been to these things. It's going to be pertaining to the widening of the Jefferson Freeway, or the Snyder, whatever you're calling it today, 841, between Turtlesville Road and I-71. This widening project will, of course, impact people that get off there at LaGrange Road and back through there at that end of Oldham County. So if you want to know what's going on with the freeway, be at that meeting, the 8th, between 5 and 7, Ascension Lutheran Church on Shelbyville Road. Thank you.
Thank you. Magistrate Eldridge?
Thank you, Magistrate. One of the things we've been diligent on in our terms is trying to clear out red flag homes. For those of you that don't know, red flag homes are those homes we see abandoned, and we always call them foreclosures, but they're really not. They're just kind of out there in limbo. We have brought another one of those to fruition. It's on Old Zering Road. It was last opened several years ago under the name of Brownsboro Automotive. It was owned by the Sharp family, Donnie and Bobby. It'll be coming to the courthouse door on the 29th of this month. So if you're interested in that, the 29th of this month, Brownsboro Automotive. Thank you.
Magistrate Hounds.
Today is May the 1st. It starts the Oldham County burn ban. Hopefully, those folks that had stuff to get rid of took care of it before today. I know that I get phone calls on a regular basis about people burning things in their yards. The fire department doesn't like to come out, but if they do, and they do find that it is an illegal burn, they will put it out. You can call and complain about it, but they're just following the rules and regulations set forth.
Anything else?
No, sir.
Magistrate Leslie?
Yes, May 22nd is going to be the primary, and I'm encouraging everyone to vote, please. And I know all the people who are running and who are in office. The people who are in office have done an excellent job for you. That's why this county is rated the highest in the entire state. And it's because of the local people who hold office, and I would encourage people to please retain them. That's all I have.
Thank you. Magistrate Tice?
I don't think that was a paid political comment, but thank you for your generosity to us. Nothing.
Magistrate Likens?
Thank you, Magistrate Greenwell. I'm going to get on my soapbox again. I drove down Rose Island Road a couple of days ago because I'd gotten some emails and phone calls. We managed to get that road paved last fall. It is torn up from one end of it to the other by Louisville Water Company. I'm terribly upset. I know that the utility companies are supposed to get in touch with the road departments and the county road departments, tell us what they're supposed to be doing in the upcoming years for maintenance, but that is a complete waste of taxpayer money, and I intend to make an issue out of it by contacting the newspaper and the highway department, anybody else is involved, because it's absolutely horrendous to go in and tear a road up 6 months after it's been paved. Thank you.
And that is the Jefferson County?
That's the Jefferson County side of it, yes.
Yes, Rose Island Road. We discussed this today in Road Committee, and we are going to make a diligent effort to try to get our utility companies and the road department together, and so that this doesn't happen in Oldham County. That is a crying shame that you pay that much money to pave a road and then turn right around and tear it up again. It makes no sense.
Brent, is that part of the 42 project on Little Water Company, they're running down 42?
I don't think they're several miles apart. I don't think it's one of the same projects.
I know they
but
ripped up 42.
They've torn up 42, but at least they didn't repave 42 last fall.
Well, if you stay in the right-hand lane long enough, you'll think you're on a washboard.
Yes, yes.
Mr. Carter, do you have anything?
No, I'd just like to commend the acting chairman on the running of the meeting today and the swiftness with which we have with which we have handled our business today.
Thank you. I have a question for Magistrate Leslie. Was anything said about the National Day of Prayer this year at the courthouse?
I think we did.
Did
For
we allow
Reverend
them to
Early.
use? Okay, that is Thursday. It's always the first Thursday in May.
We approved that 6-8 weeks ago, I think.
All right, all right. And then I would just like to take this opportunity to offer my condolences to Melissa Horn and her family on the loss of her mother. It's been a very tough, trying time, and I just wanted to offer our sympathy. Anybody else got anything else at this time? Motion to adjourn from Magistrate Dye, second from Magistrate Towns. All those in favor, please say aye.